60, The Answer.
No Victocrats allowed. Why? Because we've got a country to save. Join me, Larry Elder, tonight starting at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan. And in for Amy this morning, Sean from Elmwood Park. And Sean, this is a wheelhouse topic for our next guest. Little climate change politics update.
Oh, green energy. Nothing pays like a good green energy scam.
Australia Weather Bureau caught tampering with climate numbers.
They needed the data.
Australian scientists at the Bureau of Meteorology ordered a review of temperature recording instruments after the government agency was caught tampering with temperature logs in several locations, not recording low temperatures.
Now this guy can go work at the CBO.
Or NOAA.
Yeah, right.
More like it.
It's cooking the books, baby.
Or get a meteorology chair at most American universities. In addition to that, Al Gore, he's got a sequel to Inconvenient Truth coming out.
Rub it.
Truth to Power.
Oh, no.
It's not a movie about his massage
chakra?
practices.
His chakra?
It's about his junk science. And so, of course, I had to see a preview of it when I went to see Dunkirk. It's intolerable. But, of course, CNN wants to help promote the movie and promote Al Gore's political gamesmanship. And so he had a little town hall.
Was Elon Musk there?
Didn't see Elon Musk. But James Eskridge was. He is the mayor of Tangier Island out there in the Chesapeake Bay in Virginia. And Al Gore's phony science ran right into Mayor Eskridge's real life. Listen to this.
President Gore, Mr. Cooper, I'm a commercial crabber, and I've been working the Chesapeake Bay for 50-plus years. And I have a crab house business out on the water. And the water level is the same as it was when the place was built in 1970. I'm not a scientist, but I'm a keen observer. And if sea level rise is occurring, why am I not seeing signs of it? I mean, our island is disappearing, but it's because of erosion and not sea level rise. And unless we get a seawall, we will lose our island. But back to the question, why am I not seeing signs of the sea level rise?
What do you think the erosion is due to, Mayor?
Wave action, storms.
Has that increased any?
Not really.
So you're losing the island even though the waves haven't increased? Yes,
this erosion has been going on since Captain John Smith discovered the island and named it.
Yeah, because, the water's always been there.
So that crabber who thought Al Gore was president, he described Archimedes' principle far more than the huckster. Just rub my chakra till I relax, Al Gore.
All right, for more on this topic and many others, we're pleased to be joined now by Heritage Foundation economist, Wall Street Journal columnist, Steve Moore. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hi, guys. Sean, that was a great line about the CBO. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Made me chuckle there.
Thank you.
Climate change politics never subsides. There's unfortunately no erosion there. But the good news is that you have an administration that is pursuing energy independence. And one of the under-talked about accomplishments, mainly their own fault, is Trump pushing forward with the Keystone Pipeline, for example.
That's right. And, by the way, do you guys know, I'm going to do a little quiz question for you this morning, what the number one source of electricity production was for the United States in the first half of 2017?
Coal.
Natural gas.
Coal. Well, actually, Sean, you were wrong. Natural gas got beat out by a nose by coal. So we got about.
Damn it!
This is important. These numbers are important because most people have no idea where they get their electricity from. When I even talk to students in high school and college, I said, "Do you know where you get your electricity from?" They go, "Of course we know. We just stick the thing in the plug and the electricity."
But Stephen, you know why I said that? I said that because I read the article about Germany lowering their costs by 30%, and when they ask them why, it's because they're buying our natural gas.
Of course. So coal and natural gas account for about 2/3 of all our electricity. One other quiz question. Take a guess. What percentage of our electricity in the first half of 2017 came from solar power?
0.03.
1.5.
1%. We power that industry with tens of billions of dollars. My God, we're paying people all over the country to put solar paneling on their roof, and for all of that, we get 1% of our electricity from. So my point is, like, ladies and gentlemen, let's be adults here. We have an $18 trillion industrial economy. We produce cars, we produce steel, we produce technology. We're not going to produce all that stuff with windmills and solar power. There's a great saying. You can build up windmills with steel, but you can't build steel with windmills.
There you go.
And so this idea that somehow we're going to transition to, by the way, we could transition to using wind and solar power for all our electricity. And Sean, you just mentioned Germany. Germany tried that. They tried that 10 years ago. It damn near ruined their economy.
Well,
now they're moving back. You're right, Sean. They're moving back to fossil fuels. You know why? Because fossil fuels are a really good way to get electricity.
Dirty energy works.
It doesn't necessarily need to be dirty.
No, I know. It's just,
I
like to fight.
How about nuclear? Yeah.
No, well, by the way, let's step back a minute. Natural gas is what's reducing our carbon emissions. The United States has reduced our carbon emissions. I know you know this, Dan, because we've talked about it before, but most Americans don't know it. The United States, the country that didn't sign the Kyoto Treaty, we don't have a cap and trade system. We don't have the tax on carbon, all of this other stuff that all these other countries have done. But we've reduced our carbon emissions more than they have because we're using more natural gas, which is a clean source of fuel. But guess what? The environmentalists hate natural gas, too, even though
they do.
Up the environment. So.
Yeah, well, and the left says in response to that, why can't we be more like China? It's amazing. Switching.
More like who?
China.
Well, China, by the way, sorry, Dan, to go off on this, but China is building, of all the sources, the New York Times reported about 3 or 4 weeks ago, China is building 500 new coal plants.
Yeah, of course.
Does that sound like a country that's taking global warming seriously?
Oh, Steve, would you stop with your naivete? All the left cares about is virtue signaling and mouthing the words. They don't care about the results. Come on.
Well, I'll give China credit. They're very good. What do you call it? Virtue signaling. They're very good at that.
On your bailiwick, along with your compatriots, Laffer and Kudlow, tax reform, amid all the chaos emanating from the Oval Office last week, Paul Ryan said they're close to a framework for an agreement on tax reform over in the House Republican caucus. Is that true, and what does it look like?
I don't know if it's true. I mean, I met with Paul Ryan a week or two ago. I like Paul. I mean, he has this grandiose vision of, rewriting the 80,000-page tax code and, closing all the loopholes, getting the rates down. I think that's too complicated. I think one of the lessons we should have learned from Obamacare is keep it simple. Keep it really simple. If there's 1,000 moving parts, people get suspicious of Washington. So what Larry Kudlow, Laffer, Steve Forbes, and I are talking about is just do something very simple. I want to run this one by you and see what you guys think. Cut the business tax rate to 15%, so overnight we go from the highest tax rate country in the world to the lowest on our businesses. That's number one. That's the first easy step. The second easy step is do the repatriation tax. Charge companies 10% to bring those trillions of dollars they're holding in China and Ireland and Germany and Mexico back to the bring that money back to the United States at that 10% rate. We think we can bring over $1 trillion back. And number three, double the standard deduction. So every American family and American worker gets about a $1,500 tax cut. And just do that. Nothing else. And by the way, this is a tax cut. It's a tax cut. It's not revenue neutral.
I'll agree to what you want when you can explain to me why a corporation pays taxes when it's made up of people. It should be zero. Yeah. Nothing. It doesn't exist. It defeats its own purpose when you tax it, you double tax it, and it has the money and the lawyers to avoid them anyway. So it's an act of futility. So
you got it. So at least if we're going to double tax it, let's double tax it at 15%, not 40%.
But here's the thing, Stephen. I disagree with you on Woody from Toy Story, Paul Ryan. I completely disagree with you. Elected at 28, he's been good at absolutely nothing. He hasn't done a successful argument to stop any of the spending. In fact, what are we doing? We're talking about raising the debt ceiling, which mysteriously is out of the conversation anymore. Because all we're focused on the front page of the Drudge is the Dow is at 22,000. And you and Kudlow and Laffer know it's not because of the Arthur Cutten fundamentals we all learned. It's because of that we've quadrupled the money rate. We've quadrupled the amount of money through a click of a button. And nobody, including Ryan, is talking about stopping that. When do we get off this money laundering Ponzi scheme? When?
Well, that's a great question. I've been working for 30 years to try to make that happen. We suffered a huge defeat last week when, we didn't get Obamacare repealed. That would have been the first major rollback of an entitlement program maybe ever. We couldn't get that done. It's hard to take these programs away. But we got to grow the economy. Got to get people back to work. We did get a pretty decent GDP report on Friday. Almost no one took any notice of it because, of course, Trump was bloviating about something with his Twitter, account, and he has a way of kind of stepping on his own, headlines. But the economy is improving. If we get this tax cut done, we're going to grow the economy, Sean. And when you grow the economy, guess what? You have more taxpayers, and you have more revenue coming in. That's what Reagan taught us, and that's the best way to bring this debt down. Get America back to work. Make America great again.
All right, Steve. Stephen Moore, Wall Street Journal columnist, Heritage Foundation economist. Steve, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Have a great week.
Thank you. And he joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're talking about